tall building, what you try to do is to reduce the load that is caused on the building by the earthquake.
Surprisingly, it's shorter structures that are especially at risk. Shorter buildings remain rigid and end up trying to absorb the quake's power, causing huge amounts of damage, especially to the building's contents.
These buildings tend to attract to their structure and to their contents, to their interior, most of the earthquake shock. A tall building, like a skyscraper, is so long that there is very little shock attracted to the building.
THE went to the University of California at Berkeley, where Dr. Kelly has used software that models the effect of earthquakes and shake tables that simulate ground motion to effectively develop base isolation systems.
The idea of using some kind of system to decouple the building from the ground is a very old idea. But with the development in the 70s and the 80s of natural rubber isolators, this became a practical possibility.
With base isolation, a building is separated from the earth by elastomeric bearings, alternating layers of high-density rubber and steel plates surrounding an inner core of lead. When the shaking starts, the building floats safely on top of the bearings while the ground moves underneath.
The building is floating on this system of rubber springs. The black rubber region here is the functioning region of the isolator. Under large earthquake motion, these isolators are designed to move back and forth 24 inches.
The inner core of lead absorbs most of the quake's energy and turns it into harmless heat. To leave room for the building to move, a concrete moat circles the foundation, and all utilities are flexibly connected.
In a particular example where there were two buildings of identical construction, one isolated and one not isolated, the people in the isolated building experienced nothing, felt nothing. The people in the unisolated building ran outside screaming, "Earthquake!"
Another device, called a friction pendulum, consists of a shallow metal dish in which a steel bearing point supports the weight of the column above. With this technology, the building skates around in the Teflon-coated dish. Base-isolated structures have already been tested by nature. The 1994 Northridge earthquake registered 6.7 on the Richter scale. At the USC hospital, base isolation technology meant that not a single test tube was knocked over. In Japan, THE discovered one engineer who was using electronics to help structures actively respond to earthquakes and harness their energy. At the Kojima Research Institute outside Tokyo, Dr. Takuji Kobori is developing what he calls the dynamic intelligent building.
Such systems could eliminate unpredictable building vibration.
On the top floor of this 15-story building in Tokyo, Dr. Kobori has installed 3 weights totaling 20 tons. The bottom and largest weight floats on rubber bearings. As an earthquake shakes the building, it naturally rocks back and forth, counteracting the earthquake's forces like a pendulum. Simultaneously, sensors in both the building and the ground trigger computer-controlled motors that move the 2 smaller weights so that the force of their motion complements the effect of the larger weight, steadying the building even more and controlling its sway. But Kobori's not one to rest on his laurels. He's created another active approach, one that makes the very framework of the building able to go with the flow. In this 3-story test building, triangular support braces on each floor are not rigidly fixed to the beams running through the building, but attached with a piston and valve mechanism. During an earthquake, the building's computer opens the valve so the beam can move horizontally, making the building flexible. As the system senses earthquakes, it varies the stiffness of the building automatically. It responds in less than 1/20th of a second, reducing the impact of an earthquake by as much as 50%. Uninterruptible batteries ensure there's a constant power supply for the sensors and computer.
I'm very proud of what we have achieved with these systems. We are able to save lives and property that would otherwise be lost.
Protecting lives, assets, and business operations is priceless. While no building is impervious to the forces of nature, Dr. Kobori and Dr. Kelly are at least providing us with a solid insurance policy against the big one.